วัสดีค่ะ and welcome back to Edinburgh Insight here on GBN Station. You're now with me, Gongkanok Wishitpan. Our news update today is about the stories on the Buddhist temple bells that took place in South Korea, a rare Buddhist statues that have been unearthed in North Korea, the launching ceremony of a new Buddhist book on Pakistan Buddhist heritage, the signing of an agreement to support and protect Buddhist heritage and culture that took place in Sri Lanka, and lastly, the internship program in India. Choi Eun-chon, a professor of art history at Dongguk University in South Korea, has recently published a book entitled Korean Buddhist Temple Bells. He has been studying Korean temple bells that are currently scattered all across the world for 33 years since 1989. The Dong-A Ilbo met Professor Choi at the Overseas Korean Cultural Heritage Foundation in Mapogu, Seoul. This book has archived a total of 363 Korean Buddhist temple bells that are currently scattered across the globe, said Professor Choi.The book also carries a QR code of the Psalms of 41 bells in an attempt to fully convey the Buddhist virtue embodied in Korean Buddhist temple bells. The book carries a list that runs to 31 pages, categorizing 363 Korean bells by countries that are currently possessed and the period in which these bells are presumed to have been produced.My students and I will keep adding new historical sources to the list, said the professor. This book marks the beginning of the study of Buddhist temple bells. Rare Buddhist statues presumed to have been produced during the Goryeo Kingdom have been recently unearthed in the mountains of North Korea. The gilt bronze-seated Buddha triad has been found in Mount Gyeomgang in Gangwon Province,while the silver-gate-seated Buddha triad has been excavated in Mount Myeonghang in Pyeongan Province in recent weeks. According to the lab analysis conducted by Kim Il-sung University High-Tech Development Center, the Buddha triad from Mount Gyeomgang is made primarily of bronze with stone and lead included and coated with gold.Based on the statue styles and engravings, an archaeological institute and an artifact evaluation committee in North Korea have concluded that these newly discovered relics are from the Goryeo period, when Buddhism was adopted as a state religion across the Korean peninsula. The academic circle has determined that it is of great scholarly significance to be able to study and analyze these Buddhist statues' shapes, as well as their period and method of production. In addition, it has recognized that these artifacts excavated from the celebrated sites of Mount Myeonghang and Gyeomgang are well worth being valued as national treasures, Nena reported.The Embassy of Pakistan organized the launching ceremony of a book on Pakistan's Buddhist heritage titled Buddhism and Buddhist Heritage in Pakistan, authored by eminent author Mr. Om Shimran Amartya. Honorable Mr. Prem Bahadur A., Minister of Culture, Tourism, and Civil Aviation of Nepal, graced the occasion. Mr. Bidya Shakya,Mayor of Kathmandu Metropolitan City, presided over the event. Addressing the occasion, Honorable Mr. Bidya highlighted the significance of cultural heritage as an important facet of people-to-people contacts. He termed the Buddhist heritage as a joint legacy of both the countries. His Excellency Sai Haider Shah,Ambassador of Pakistan to Nepal, highlighted the significance of cultural and historical linkages in strengthening bilateral relations between Pakistan and Nepal. He commended the author of his meticulous work. Indian External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar visited Sri Lanka last week to help Sri Lanka tackle with the country's economic crisis. During his 3 days visit to Colombo, he had a meeting with Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa to witness the signing of an agreement on supporting Buddhist culture and heritage and virtually inaugurated the Jaffna Cultural Center built by India. India and Sri Lanka have been in close neighborly relationship in various dimensions, especially in cultural area. In 2020, India announced a great assistance of $15 million for the promotion of Buddhist ties with Sri Lanka, besides affirming to expand defense partnership, eyeing to stabilize the southern Indian Ocean. During the upcoming visits to Buddhist archaeological sites in Pune this summer, visitors could enjoy guided tours and learn more about the history of heritage sites, thanks to the Pune office of Department of Archaeology and Museums. The department has agreed to allow postgraduate students of Buddhist heritage and tourism at SPPU to get hands-on training and on-field experience working at these sites. In 2021, the Department of Pali at SPPU launched a postgraduate diploma course in Buddhist heritage and tourism, mainly aimed to helping students get skill-avail jobs in tourism industry. Here, students learn subjects such as philosophical heritage, history of Buddhism in Asia, Buddhist visual art, architecture of World Buddhist Heritage Sites, Buddhist pilgrimage sites in India, living Buddhist cultural heritage, and fundamentals of tourism and heritage studies. The Archaeological Department has approved the proposal of internships and an MOU with SPPU will be signed soon. There are 10 students in the first batch who will soon start 3 months internships at these sites. For those of you who are looking for ways to make your life happier, today the Teaching Monk from Mind Stories YouTube channel will be teaching us 3 daily practices taught by Lord Buddha that can make our life happier. Let's get started.
There are 3 things that the Buddha taught us to do every day. So think about our life like a car that needs fuel to run. Without fuel, the car will not run. So each day we should accumulate that fuel so that we have enough energy for the car to keep running the longest we can. So there are 3 main ways to really generate those energy. Number 1 is called giving or generosity. So any acts of generosity will help us to really gain that positive energy. Number 2 is called keeping precepts or observing self-discipline, which help us to be more mindful about our verbal and physical action so that we don't end up harming or violating one another. Number 3 is to purify our mind through whether prayers or practice of meditation or chanting. So in order to incorporate that into daily life, in the old days, Thai people usually do this. In the morning, before any breakfast, start the day with the act of giving. So it could be something very simple, whether you get just starting from giving to the animal or save your money in the piggy bank for future donation. Because if you don't have the time to go to the temple or charity every day, but you can pledge the vow and just put it in your piggy bank and say, this is my part of the day that I'm doing donation. 2, before leaving your house to go to work, before stepping out of your door, make a little vow that from this moment I step out, I will keep my 5 precepts strictly and purely until I come back. And then the last part, before you're going to sleep each night, close your eyes, either prayer, meditation, or chanting to purify your mind. So at least if you incorporate these 3 actions in this aspect of your life, every single day you can accumulate those positive energy. Just like any car, whether the car is produced in Japan, in America, or in Europe, it does run on the same gas. So if no matter who we are, at least in the morning each day, that you already start with the mind of giving. When you get out of your house, you're not thinking about taking advantage or being selfish. You already start your day by being selfless. So you will make your day really worthy of your life. Secondly, each day before you stepping out of your house and you pledge the vow that I will make this day that I will not end up harming someone else. So you create more friends instead of enemy. Even though you're not Buddhist, but you can also create a positive society by your action. And each night before you go to bed, if you clear your mind, calm your mind through the practice of meditation, it helps you to see what happened in your days so that you can realize whether this is good enough or this is something I can improve a bit more and what I should do tomorrow. So these are three things that can be done in every religion and practice. Normally in Buddhism, we talk about three main kinds of giving. The first one is called giving materials, which means it could be any physical object. It doesn't have to be just money. It could be food, it could be clothes, it could be any object that you can give. It could be giving to anyone, from just animal, from homeless to orphanage, to sick person, to charity, to religious facilities. It can be many types of giving. This is so-called giving materials. Number two is called giving knowledge. So it can be just regular worldly knowledge, like you're teaching someone how to make a living, but you even generate more positive energy if that giving knowledge goes all the way to giving ethical knowledge, or how a person can live a decent, moral, ethical, and successful life. So that even generates extra energy because just like you give someone some food, a person survives for a day. But if you teach them how to make food, then they survive longer. But if you also teach how they grow their own food with ethical living, that person become a good human for society. So those are the two. The number three of giving is called forgiveness. Forgiveness is also a kind of giving because each day that we holding on to our anger towards someone else, so we end up feeling like, we want to get back to one another, and by holding on to that anger and burning inside. So forgiveness becomes a gift that we can give both to ourselves and the person we're holding on to, and it frees ourselves from that bond. In Buddhist context, there are something called 5 precepts, and these 5 precepts are 5 acts that we shouldn't do, we must not do in order to keep us from trouble. So think of it this way: we love our life. And basic rules of life is that treat others the way we want to treat ourselves. So that is the basic rule. So since we love ourselves, the most important thing we love is our own life. Therefore, we should not violate others people's life by either hurting them or killing them. And that also includes not just person, but if we put ourselves into small animal shoes, even they don't wear any shoes, there will not be no beings, no animal wants to be hurt as well. So in the same way, we shouldn't end up hurting anybody or anything, any living beings. So this is number 1, abstain from harming or killing other beings. 2, beside our lives, we also love what we own because we need our lives to be comfortable. So in order to do that, we must not take what is not belong to us. So that becomes abstain from stealing. Number 3, beside our own life and what we have, we love our own family as well. And we don't want any members of our family to be taken away. As a result, we must not violate the family integrity of others, which means we must not commit sexual misconduct. Number 4, in living on the daily basis in the society, what we need to uphold the value of decency is honesty and sincerity. That means we should not harm anybody by our abusive words, by not telling lies, not using harsh speech that make people feeling bad, because we wouldn't want to be feeling that way as well. So that's what become number 4, abstain from abusive speech. And then among all of these 4, in order for us to maintain our proper behavior, we need to be more conscious about our own activities, and that leads to number 5, abstain from consuming intoxicant, whether it's going to be liquors or any kind of illicit drugs. So those things will contaminate our judgment, which make us become easier to violate others. So these are 5 don'ts that keep us away from troubles. The word meditation refers to a skill that we develop to keep the mind stand still within ourselves. So generally, we always think, jumping from one thought to the other thoughts all the time. And each time we think, it tends to generate desire, craving, anger, jealousy. Sometimes it stirs up our delusions, our ego, our jealousy. So they stir up all these negative feelings along with it and keep jumping and jumping and jumping. So which make our mind become clouded. That means our judgment become more clouded. So when we practice meditation, it's about keeping our conscious stay still within ourselves at one point. When it stays still long enough, our mind becomes clearer. And with that clarity, it allows us to see things better, see things clearer, and also gives us better idea, more positive thoughts. So that's what meditation is really about. If you are going to be to choose among the three actions, I would recommend to start from purify your mind with the practice of meditation, because the mind controls the body. So when our mind becomes clearer, it helps us to generate positive thoughts. So we see other people as friends rather than enemy, seeing others as human beings rather than someone as opponent. So with that kind of mindset, it helps us to be more kind, to be more observant or more mindful of our physical and verbal behaviors, which means the other two comes as a result when your mind becomes clearer. So start off with clearing your mind before going to bed every day. Every action bears consequences. So as a result of these three actions, it helps us to gain benefits from them. So if you ever wonder why someone born wealthier, or more physical, beautifully, or stronger, or more intelligent, these are what we have designed our life for. So for example, when someone being kind and generous, they actually generate positive energy that bring about this physical wealth upon them. But you can start off thinking very simple. Let's say if you cook something and you give it to everybody in the village, the next day and the day afterward, people in the village will feel like they want to give it back to you. So you give food one day, but there are many days in the future that people will returning the favor by giving the food back to you. So the giving also back kind of concept, but it also goes beyond one lifetime. So that becomes the cause of being born wealthier in other lifetime. Number two, when we maintain our proper behavior, physically and verbally, it helps us to be in good health and good appearance. Let's think of it this way. When you are upset and you want to hit someone, you wish your hand becomes so hard and tough so that the person will hurt the most, right? So basically, instead of you having regular hand, you wish you have like claws that can scratch people and make them painful. Or if you want to kick someone, you wish your leg will be a lot harder. So instead of having just regular foot, it look like a hoof. So you basically design in your mind how your body should be like. So which also transform the way our body will turn when we are reborn again. In the same way as intelligent. Intelligence comes from the mental clarity and the habit to acquiring knowledge. So just like, if you're really keen to study in this life, you get more knowledge from books that you read, from people that you're asking questions from. Plus, if your mind become more focused, it helps you to understand those knowledge better. So the same thing that you have accumulated in this life will carry to your next life as well, as become more intelligent when you are reborn. So when you actually keep yourself being generous, observing 5 precepts and practicing meditation, you are redesigning your own life to be wealthier, to be more beautiful and stronger, healthier, as well as more intelligent.
Now it's time for us to say goodbye, and please make sure to check out all episodes of our Expert Insight News program on our website, gbnus.com. Thank you for joining us. Have a wonderful week. สวัสดีค่ะ